What is going on, guys? I just recorded a full video and realized my mic wasn't on, so back at it again, but you won't see that one. So anyway, so if you're back, I'm just going to do kind of like a short form, go over what my investments are doing and go over some new stuff. But really, I'm a secondary or tertiary side, guys. Okay, so most of the stuff you probably already heard. I'm just going to give you my perspectives on it. But before we get started, we really do have to talk about this whole mass shooting. Now, before you head off, don't worry, I'm not going to politicize it, all that stuff. I just want to give my perspectives on it and sort of like just shed some light on some of the things that I think are important. This is honestly an untold tragedy. Some things, honestly, you know, like for example, some things you can say, okay, they're one-offs or whatever, so you can't really divest too much energy or effort into it to come up with some sort of solution. But this stuff is very tough to, like, you know, I don't even think a moment of silence is worth it for this. Like, you can't have, I hate those things. It's like you want to have a moment of silence for some of these voices and souls that have been eternally silenced. Like, that's absolutely crazy. And they're kids. Like, I have a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old. Like, they're not too far from where some of the you know, some of the kids at the school at Uvalde, Texas, I think it is. Like, that's crazy, man. Like, my cousin lives out in Dallas, which is not too far from there from what I hear, and it's like, what a tragedy. It's just so bad, especially when the shooter himself, Ramos, I think it was, you know, he posted some things on social media and he messaged people directly, very concerning stuff. And it's like, I mean, more information is coming out on this, right? So don't take my word on it. Go ahead and do your own research. But I'm just saying, like, there are signs, like, people could have picked this out. And from a tech perspective, I've worked on social media stuff. These things can be filtered to a point where you can actually pick something out, you know, judge the sentiment on it and flag it. This happens for other contexts. This happens for things like advertising and stuff like that. Why can't we? That would be my suggestion. It's not about politics. It's about human lives. And really, you know, someone's going to politicize this stuff. So I hate doing that stuff. But, you know, what a waste of human life. It's like, and it's supposedly the guy was bullied or whatever the case is, the shooter, right? So, you know, there's so many issues with these kind of events that it's not just about the end result, which is the shooting. Of course, you know, my heart goes out to the people who are suffering from this. And even if my heart goes out, no one gives a shit. Like, this kind of stuff is like, there's no end. There's nothing that you can come up with or say that'll help the suffering that some of these families are going to go through. And I can't even, like, I don't even know what to say for that. So I just want to bring light to this stuff. It's really tragic, and I don't know what to do about it. Let me know if you have some sort of suggestion, but I truly think that from a tech perspective, you know, we should be doing more due diligence in terms of, you know, looking and making sure that these messages are flagged. And by the way, guys, I've done this kind of stuff without actually encroaching on any privacy concerns. Seriously, this is totally possible. It's not out of the realms of possibility. So, I know it is what it is. But anyway, moving on to this, there will be chapters in the section below. So, you know, if you want to skip to certain things, you can. Feel free to do that. And you know, like, if it's a long video, just go through the sections. I don't care if you watch the whole thing or whatever. So in the beginning, we're going to talk about some Palantir stuff. Then I'm going to follow up with Tesla, and then Ark Invest, and finish off with some Fed and economy related stuff that I think. All right, so Palantir. Okay, so Palantir has this really, it's a fully fledged company. I keep saying this. I'm one of the most consistent people when it comes to this, but their product is full fledged. It's full featured. Now, even if there's certain things that need some loose ends tied up, the reality of the situation is they actually have a very solid product, and all they need to do is really get it in front of people and sell, and then get feedback. They're at that stage, guys. Not many companies have a full-fledged product like this that they can ship out and actually, you know, sell. For example, there's problems with how they sell it. Like, it's a fully, you know, it's like almost like a massive monolith type of product. It's not a monolith. I'm using tech terms here, but I'm just saying it's a very bulky product, and you really only benefit if you have the whole system, right? That's kind of one of the problems here. Sure, but they do have to start onboarding these salespeople and preparing them in time so that when they actually need to start working, you know, the ramp is ready for them to sort of climb off of. And really, that's what I'm looking forward to. And I've been saying this from day one. Like, the product is solid, just get out there and sell it. Although I don't want software people leading the sales teams. So if that's you there, get the hell out of there. Let the salespeople do the thing. Now, the point I was trying to make is their blub here. Let me share with you on the screen here. Sorry, this guy. There it is. So blub, it sounds like a bot account or something, but Blub shared a tweet saying, like, why is no one talking about this? Blaze Roulet was at Salesforce for 7 years and has become a head of sales for Europe at Palantir since May. Now, Blub, bro, here you go, man. I'm talking about it. I did respond to you, but I'm talking about it either way. So this is really good sign because a company like Salesforce, these guys have a really good sales force. No pun intended, but they have a very good, like Salesforce, you guys got to remember, when it first came out, it was really a CRM. And I don't know if you know this, but at the time when Salesforce was doing their things, there were lots of CRMs out there, lots. Like there were tons of CRMs. There were even free ones that were pretty good, okay? So like why would anybody, like why would Salesforce become so successful? It's mainly because of like how they started layering their businesses and their salespeople got in front of customers. They gave them incentives. The network that Salesforce salespeople brought on board was actually very, very strong. And this is a great sign. This is a super bullish sign for me. Now, that being said, this is a multi-year thing, guys. Okay, this isn't going to happen in the next 6 months. It'll take a matter of years. Whoever this guy is, okay, what's his name? Blaise Roulet, right? He's going to be hiring, like he's going to poach some people from Salesforce for sure. He's going to build his team. Now, once he builds his team, then the ramp starts. But until then, nothing. This is nothing. This is a nothing burger. Other than the fact that it's a really big sign that he's on board. I'm saying the result from it is going to take some time. So please, don't freak out and buy stock because one guy got hired, okay? Let the team build. Start looking for those indicators of, now small companies are taking Palantir as sort of like a project. But once bigger companies start taking, because you got to understand, salespeople, it's not just the people, they come with a network. And when they bring in network, they bring in big fish. They have people in big, companies or whatever the case is. And once those dominoes start to fall, then the bullish sign is really, really starting to come. So keep that in mind, okay? That being said, it's really a bullish sign. So anyway, let's move on to the next point. So Alex Karp did an interview recently with Andrew Sorkin on CNBC, and it's actually a really solid interview. Now, I've been really critical of Karp in the past, not because I hate the guy, because you have to be, right? Like if you're invested in the guy's company, you really need to hold him under every light just to see where the cracks are, whatever the case is, just because, it's your hard-earned money, right? You're not an institutional investor. You are your person, you're investing your kid's future, things like that. So you really need to hold these people to a higher standard. And I'm sure they do for themselves as well. So this interview is really good. My only issue with it, by the way, watch it because, he talks about like geopolitics and sort of how Palantir fits into it and all that. Really, really good stuff. Like some of the things, if you've sort of been a Palantir investor, it's not really that new, but of course it's very refreshing. He's a very free thinker, although he's classified as one like far left or something politically, who even knows? But doesn't matter. Like he's a very free thinker, and it's very refreshing for somebody of his ilk to be able to actually talk like that and give his perspectives freely. Like it's very refreshing. I welcome it with open arms. And he likes to ski, which I like to snowboard. So, I'm all for it, man. It looks like the guy just skied right onto the platform with his like ski gear. It's awesome. But anyway, that being said, to me, still, to be honest with you, it's kind of all talk. Like. And most likely it's CNBC. What are you going to do, right? And a lot of stuff that Palantir does is very shadowy, so they can't tell you everything, of course. But it is a little bit like, it's a lot of the same stuff that he's talked about before. So, I'm not really too surprised by it. But I will say that it is a bullish sign that, it seems that he's cognizant about what's happening with the stock price to a certain extent, as well as what's happening with the company. And he doesn't seem that worried, which makes me feel pretty good because really, if he was, I think, we'd have bigger problems. But watch the interview. I think, let me know what your thoughts are. If you did watch it, let me know in the comment section what you think of it. And we can sort of have that discussion in the comments. But yeah, that's about it. I think Palantir is good. I'm not buying, by the way. So I'll tell you about what I'm doing later on down below. So if you're really only interested in that, then skip down to the end section and we'll sort of discuss it there. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about Elon and the sexual harassment stuff. A friend brought up to me, another YouTuber, I won't say who, but brought up to me that like literally the day after he talked about how he's going to stop voting for Democrat, this harassment case came out. I mean, it seems very coincidental. I feel like it might be a coincidence, but God, in this world, I don't even know anymore. It just feels like another hit piece, right? Combined with the fact that, the Business Insider came out with basically a hit piece for, against Elon Musk about the whole harassment piece. And I think like there's a whole bunch of corruption there in that organization too, right? He's not exactly like I think the CEO or something like that was banned from trading or something, but turns out there's some information about how he had some Tesla puts or Tesla short positions or something. Don't quote me on it. Go read up on it. This shouldn't be news to you if you are a Tesla investor, but if it is, feel free to go read up on it. It's really sketchy. But that being said, I guess this kind of goes on to the next point, but before we get there, I'm not laughing in the face of sexual harassment. Apparently Elon showed this flight attendant his like dick or something. So I mean, if that's the case, man, he should pay the price. If that did happen, he should pay the price. But it is very sketchy that after he announced that, this kind of stuff came out, right? So I think there was a settlement that was made. But this moves on to the next point, which is he's setting up a legal team. Now this is for Tesla, not for Elon, of course, but in a lot of ways they are intertwined. I'm sure that there's some notes being taken that sort of overlap in that Venn diagram of Elon and his companies. But we got to understand something here. I kind of, and don't hate me, okay? If you're a Tesla fan or whatever, don't hate me. Again, Elon is a very large my inspiration to a lot of stuff, okay? Like I literally work 15 hours a day, and knowing that somebody like Elon is out there doing the same thing for something he loves puts me sort of in place and being like, you know what, maybe I'm not doing so bad, right? So don't get me wrong. I don't like the fact that he's like, oh, we're going to hire this massive killer legal team, but we're potentially going to leave money on the table by saying, oh, even if we can win, we might not chase it if it's not right or whatever. Like, dude, in my opinion, he should play the game. Play the game, make sure that, people that need to go down, go down. Like there's a lot of people out there that do need to go down, unfortunately, right? They're coming out of the woodwork right now since Elon is sort of like in this public figure. And that's another thing. I'm not too surprised that this is happening because he is one of the, if not the biggest public figure right now in the past, 2-3 years, right? So this is kind of fully warranted, to be honest with you. Bezos went through the same thing. So I'm not that worried, but I'm a strong believer of letting people do what they're good at. If you want to hire an A-grade legal team, let them do what they're good at. Why in good God would you be like, I want the best legal people. I don't want people from here, but I want the best. But when you're here, right, we're going to do the right thing and we're going to do the only thing that matters. And it's like, no, like if they're good at certain things, let them do that. Now, if that happens to be the best case, like for example, if the right thing and leaving money on the table or whatever the case is, happens to be something that is the best thing to do at the time, kudos, that's fine. But don't go into, I feel like going into it saying, oh, we want the best, but we want you to do only like this one way that, maybe you're not comfortable with depending on the situation. People might have a hard time with that because it'll give you a weird reputation, right? I don't know. It's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below on that. Anyway, Tesla point. We're looking like we're building a factory in Indonesia, fellas. I mean, all you Tesla shareholders out there, man. So this is really, in my opinion, right? And this is, again, should not be news if you're a Tesla fan or whatever watching YouTube, okay? You'll probably hear this from Dylan Loomis or Stephen Mark Ryan, whoever. Like these guys are probably already reported this by now, hopefully. But originally, we knew that from a few years ago that Tesla was looking at Indonesia because there's a large nickel and basically a lot of raw materials there. And they potentially want to build a battery factory there. At least that's what I thought. So it turns out there's plans to have a vehicle factory there as well, which is, to me, actually extremely bullish. And I'll tell you why. When Tesla moved to China, right, when they first announced the Shanghai factory, I was really skeptical because I'm like, man, even if it's their own factory, it's a CCP. Like it's a completely authoritarian regime there, right? So I know, don't again, Elon fanboys, don't get mad. I'm just telling you the truth. Like when Tesla went to China, Elon basically took it up the ass. Just saying, because like if you look at it, look at the messaging that comes out whenever something bad happens to Tesla in China, right? It's very polite. It's very, oh, please don't, strike me. I'm just a lonely car company. It's very pathetic, to be very honest with you. Like it's political and pathetic and very businessy. Totally fine, right? Cringy at best. But in the US, you see him like blasting people and all this other kind of stuff, right? So to me, it's a little bit hypocritical. It is what it is, whatever. Like, I think they have to do it, so I'm okay with it. I'm not like, no, I'm not one of those, oh, you moved to China. I don't care. It's fine. I'm just saying, you can't ignore it, is what I'm saying, right? So I knew that was going to happen going to China. And I feel like if Tesla really start to hit a stride, the CCP would find some way to, put a full stop and start, breaking the transition to the moon. Okay, I feel like they would do something to affect that. So having something like an Indonesia factory, in my opinion, is like a China hedge. To be honest with you, it's just huge. I don't think it's as big as Shanghai for sure. It might not even make as many cars, because I think if it did, the people that Tesla are dealing with in China would be like, hey man, like what the hell's going on here? Like I thought China was the gem of the East, right? Or like Shanghai. So I don't think it is, but it's definitely a good sign that Tesla's planning to sort of hedge outside of China in another, mineral-rich country like Indonesia, for example. So, that's good news. Anyway, last but not least, last point, I want to talk about the whole Fed Reserve combined with the recession and economy and what I'm going to do. Okay. let me tell you what I'm going to do first so we can get the mess out of the way. I'm not buying a single share right now. I have not taken a position since I think early January, and I'm really just like hoarding cash. I paid a massive tax bill. Like it was like a very painful tax bill for me to pay. I feel like I just gave up my kidney to the government. Okay, so so apart from that, I'm just trying to build up as much cash as possible. Thankfully, I've been like literally fighting to keep my job, and I haven't had to fire any employees. I have like a few employees here and there, so it's, to me, that's very important. I need my people to work too, but thankfully I can save some money, as well as do all the stuff that like business as usual, for example, just a little bit more stress. So I'm not buying a single share because I think there's more pain to be felt, and you won't know till about the end of summer. And I have a theory on that. The theory is, and I'll just tell you right now, people in the summer, especially 2022, is the year that like COVID doesn't really matter anymore, right? Like, not that it doesn't matter, but you know what I mean. It's like people don't care about it as much and not talking about it as much. It's not the hot topic. So people are going to go out. They're going to go out and do what they normally did before COVID and all this other stuff. And I know this because I spoke to my neighbors, and like you go out and people are finally starting to actually realize the actual inflation that's happening. Restaurants are more expensive, gas is more expensive, everything's more expensive, right? So as you go out and you see all this stuff, you're going to have this realization, oh crap. Because before, we were just buying everything online. And even if it was more expensive, we weren't driving as much and everybody was at home. So you were kind of saving money to make up for some of that. And you're like, okay, you know, I still have some money left over. But now it's business as usual. So you're going to realize that a lot more. And it's going to go into consumers saving more rather than spending. Now, they'll still spend, but I feel like there's going to be a switch at some point where people are going to say that's way too expensive for baby formula when it's not even that accessible or whatever the case is, right? And they're going to start saving, which is going to put less money into the economy and put some more downward pressure. That being said, with this, I think the Federal Reserve is actually going to slow their rate hikes, or actually completely halt it for the next maybe quarter. I think it's going to go up still. But what I think is they're going to halt it mainly because right now I feel like we're already in a little bit of a mini recession. But if they continue at this pace, it's going to 100% put us in a recession. Now, I still think they're going to go up, and I still think there's going to be down pressure, but I think they're trying to smoothen the curve a little bit by spreading that hike, which means that, you see, if we went to a recession now, at least you'll know what the bottom was potentially. No one knows, but you know what I mean. It's going to hit a trough, and you can buy at some part of that trough and then go from there, right? The problem is, I think they're trying to spread this out a little, which means that you're not really going to see many gains probably till 2023, 24. Which I'm okay with, but I'm really hoping you're okay with too, because that just means we're gonna be in a world of hurt for the next maybe 6 months. But I'm just gonna hold cash, guys. Now, final thing we're gonna talk about, and this isn't really a non-starter, but just to talk about it because I own some Ark. Kathy Wood, Ark Invest, I think Tesla's number 2 or something, right? It went to number 3, and I think they bought 10 million shares, or $10 million or something worth of shares, and it went up again. But they're number 2 now. It is no longer their like number 1 holding. And honestly, it's tough. I'm still with Kathy a little bit, but I'm not really a fan of some of the decisions that they made, like especially something like selling Palantir and buying more Roku. Like, I don't really understand Roku too much. I know that they put their software on TVs and stuff like that, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. But the worst thing is the whole GM thing, right? Like, they bought GM stock, and it's like, wow, for a research company that's telling me that this exact company, like, she literally tweeted that GM is going to go bankrupt. To buy their stock is like, what, like, are pigs flying? Like, what's happening, right? And on top of that, Ark has been absolutely demolished. Like, it's almost down to the pre-COVID, spike levels. Or if it is, I don't know, but it's my portfolio with that is absolutely bleeding. Thankfully, it's like a very small percentage. Like, I have like maybe like 1 or 2% in there. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, they're a trading company. They trade. So it's very likely that Tesla's going to go back up whenever they feel like, they're going to buy more shares or whatever the case is. So I don't know. That's it for me, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until the next update, I will really appreciate if you guys actually let me know in the comment section, man. Tell me what you guys think about all the stuff I'm talking about. Remember, there's chapters down below. Until next time, I will catch you all later. Peace.